So I know I made an introduction video before I felt like introducing myself. So this is part two. Hi. A lot of people refer to me as the girl with the purple hair or the carriage driver with the purple hair. My name is Jill. I'm a New York City horse carriage driver, and I run this channel, Carriage Driver Speaks. My hair is not a political statement. I've heard a lot of people say that it means something about my political views or the music I like. If someone that was blonde dyed their hair brown, would you ask them what it means? Doesn't mean anything, just the color I chose. Um, I've tried a lot of different colors over the years. This is just what I decided to stick with for a while. Most of my political views do lean left, but I also disagree with a lot of politicians on the left and things that they're doing. And you guys have to stop with this like lumping the animal rights extremist views and this like anti-carriage horse rhetoric in with being someone on the left. There's nothing progressive about doing the wrong thing for horses and putting people out of work. I'm in my late 30s. I've been following the New York City horse carriage industry since late 2013. I've had my New York City horse-drawn carriage driver's license since 2015. I've worked with my horse Nick since 2017. I have a tattoo of him. Let me see if I can show you. There we go. Oh, it's kind of hard to get the right angle here. There he is. So, actually, I got that done by this tattoo artist in Spain. She travels around Europe a lot. She's done a couple of guest spots in New York. I don't know how often she comes here, but if you are interested, I definitely will share her Instagram with you guys. Just leave me a comment down there. She's pretty awesome. She does this like watercolor style. I've worked with my other horse, Scout, since 2023. So he's my newer horse. Now, if you just saw that, I have well, you probably heard of a farmer's tan, but I have carriage driver tan. You can kind of tell my hand is pretty dark, and the rest of me is pretty pale, because I pretty much all covered up except for my hands and the sides of my arms when I'm driving my horses. What else? I have four cats. You might have seen them in the background there. This one is Pixel. She's over there. One of my cats, there's another one. There's Gimmel down there. One of my cats, oh, here he comes. This is, that's Panther there. Okay. So one of my cats, Panther, was actually, born in a New York City carriage horse stable. Not the one I work out of, but a different one. His mother still works there as a mouser, but she has now been spayed. I have a boyfriend who is allergic to cats. I've been with him since 2020, but he's awesome, and we make it work. So, by the way, if you have any like tried and truly proven cures for cat allergies, please drop them in the comments. I grew up riding horses, volunteering at a stable as a kid. So I've actually worked with horses for over 25 years now. So I've just been driving carriages for a little under 10 years. I've lived in New York City my whole life. Originally, I wound up working in an office for a while. The money's better than being a carriage driver, but it's really not something I wanted to be doing. Money's not everything. Always been a horse person. I guess I kind of got involved, probably started when some people from the carriage stable that I grew up with said that they were trying to ban New York City carriage horses, and they were going to protest against that. And I barely knew that we had carriage horses in Central Park. I was like totally an outsider. So I did a little bit of Google research the night before the protest, or counter protest rather. Um, and I was like, all right, I'll go with you guys because I trust you and I trust your opinion on horses, but I'm not sure how I feel yet. Um, and when I was there, there was this woman named Adita. She, at the time, was with a group called Friends of Animals, but she she was just too much of an extremist and, harassing horse car drivers too much that they fired her. And this group, Night Class, New Yorkers for Clean, Livable, and Safe Streets, um, or New York Class, as you may have heard them referred to, and I've mentioned in other videos. They were like, that is who we are looking for, so they scooped her up, and she became their executive director, which she is now. But anyway, she was at this event, and she was like saying comments like we should like set all cats and dogs free, and just really extremist views. And I'm like, all right, well, this woman doesn't sound like sane. These views are kind of crazy. And if these are the people that are behind banning carriage horses, then I don't think they have their best interests in mind. I don't think that these are people that I want to listen to. And let me look into this more. So I found out about the animal rights extremist movement, and I found out about the horse carriage stables being on prime real estate that real estate developers were trying to take over. And that's why they were spreading all this information against them and trying to get them banned. There's a documentary you can check out. It's on Amazon Prime. I think you have to pay for it. I think it's on iTunes. It's called The Last Horseman of New York. So that'll go into the whole political real estate side of things. It's pretty good. Um, so I was just, yeah, kind of drawn in by all this stuff. I became kind of an advocate of the industry for a little while, or still am, I guess. uh, and after a while, it's pretty miserable in the office world. The particular place I was working out of, I was not planning on being there too much longer, so I was going on interviews for other offices. Um, at the office I was at, I was the personal and executive assistant to the CEO, I was the trade show coordinator, and I was the office manager. Um, it was just insane to have that many titles and do that many jobs. I was paid a salary, but I did not have enough time for myself, and now I probably don't either, but I actually enjoy what I'm doing because I'm just like hanging out with my horse and talking to some people and driving them around, and at the end of the day, there's some money. It doesn't really feel like a job, so I do like that. The only negative side would be like all the ridiculously false negative things that are spread about me and what I do and my horse and all of that. Just kind of ridiculous, but we're making videos, so hopefully debunk some of that stuff. Um, and so I had this carriage driver since I'd been, touring the carriage stables and talking to the drivers and talking to some veterinarians that had examined the horses. Sorry, I just got out of the shower. My hair is wet. It's kind of sitting funny. Um, so I was finding out about the care of the horses, and you know, I was like, these horses are pretty well cared for. This seems pretty awesome. I wasn't thinking of being a driver myself because I just didn't know if I could make the money work. But I was going on these job interviews, and they asked, like, why do you want this job? And I told them the things that they wanted to hear, but I'm sitting there thinking, like, I don't want this job. And I went to a New York State Horse Council meeting, as I was pretty active in the equestrian world, and there was a horse carriage driver there who suggested I go get my carriage driving license and, start driving. Um, I did. I kind of did it as like, let's just try it out. And yeah, it's like almost 10 years ago, so I'm still doing it. I did not go back into the office world, and I do plan on sticking with it. So that's kind of how I came to be here doing these videos eventually. Um, I'm not running this to promote my business, so I'm not going to advertise it here, but I do have a website. If you guys do want to book a horse carriage ride through Central Park with my company, you can just send an email to carriagedriverspeaks@gmail.com. Galaxy has something to say about that. That's my other cat there. You want to talk? Yeah. Um, so if you send me an email, I will share that website with you. I don't have the personality type to be a vlogger. I don't want to be doing this, as I've mentioned before. I'm an introvert, I got a lot of anxiety, pretty honest and open. I spent the beginning of my life with the internet like just taking off, and it took me a while to get away from the mindset that you never want to share pictures of yourself or have your name online or meet anyone from the internet. Um, but now with how far we've come in social media and everything, it's kind of weird if you don't do that, and kind of impossible to avoid it in most most cases. I think that's why like I don't know that you can actually raise a kid well anymore, because I just think that it's just so weird the way people are raised now with the internet. And I don't know, that's, if you have found a way to raise your child well with the internet and technology we have now from the beginning, like, kudos to you. Um, and I already have a few stalkers because of the job I do, the work I do. I'm always out in public, and because I'm so outspoken about it, and I have been for so long, I feel like, well, I have nothing else to lose then doing videos here, because I already have these like crazy people bothering me. Um, so I just figured, what the heck. Uh, and I guess I have to ask you to subscribe and like thumbs up so that I can grow the channel and reach a bigger audience that wants to learn about the New York City horse carriage industry from a driver. So go ahead and do that. I guess I'll try to pretend to be a vlogging personality once in a while if I have to. Yeah, and I guess that's me. So hopefully you get something out of this channel, learn about some horses. Yeah.